Is everybody happy? I hope everybody's happy, because this made me happy. Let's talk about why this made me so happy. So yes, we now have come to the third season of Steven Universe, starting off this whole Into Deep event. I gotta say, I love it! This is a great way to start off the season premiere of Steven Universe. We waited so long, and we waited, and we waited, and we finally got our wish, guys. We finally got, the newest episodes of Steven Universe. So let's talk about the first two episodes, starting off with Super Watermelon Island. Now, despite this title, this was a pretty awesome episode. Quintessentially, Steven's powers are now growing even further. He's now even dreaming into possessing the watermelon beings, which makes me wonder, could he take over anybody at this point? Could he, he went into Lapis's mind the first time around, well, Lapis and Jasper's mind together, and now he's taking over, watermelon beings. How long until he dreams? I'd like to see an episode where he dreams that he's Amethyst or one of the other gems or someone else in Beach City, and he takes over their body for a day. Anyway, it'd be hilarious if he was Lars for a day. Admit it, that would be perfect episode material. He dreams he was what it's like to be Lars and follows the life of Lars the whole day. Oh man. Anyway, so this episode we find out that the watermelons are quintessentially sacrificing their own to Malachite, who, it's quintessentially Kong. It's pretty much King Kong, where they're sacrificing one of their own to this being they consider a god, and Steven finds out, Jasper's slowly taking over, and, Lapis is losing control by every waning second. So, the gems, they also discover that, the cluster's on its way, and Steven and Peridot are told to stay behind while the gems stay there. However, Steven just goes total surrogates on... he goes total Matrix, I guess you could say, on another watermelon, and we get the coolest fight ever. I couldn't help but think when we saw the Malachite Alexandrite fight, it literally almost felt like the gems were saying, "We need Megazord power now!" And I couldn't help but get the Megazord theme out of my head when Malachite was fusing. Oh, Jesus. But no, the fight was fantastic. We got to see more of it. We got to see more of the fight between Malachite and Alexandrite, which I thought was just utterly spectacular. And probably one of the best fights in Steven Universe, hands down. And yeah, we also get to see the gems reenact the Ewok battle, the Battle of the Moon of Endor on the Watermelon Island. Yeah. They literally... No, there are moments where it's like, did they get that from the Ewoks? Like the wooden hang gliders and the catapults? On one hand, I'm thinking to myself... on one hand, I'm totally thinking to myself, what the hell? Where did they get that? Did they already have those, like, bows and arrows and catapults, or did they just suddenly MacGyver that shit right out the gate? I have no idea. But also, all in all, Alexandrite defeats Malachite, they defuse, and they manage to save Lapis, but unfortunately when the cluster's waking up, the quintessentially, Jasper falls into a crevice and disappears. Never to be seen again, right? Nah. She's coming back. We all know that at some point Jasper's going to rear her ugly head. Sometime or another, she's going to rear that ugly head of hers and come back. And I'm pretty sure she's not going to be happy. So I'm wondering if they are going to do the redemption arc for... I'm pretty sure Lapis's redemption arc won't be that long. But Jasper's might be a little longer, assuming, she wants to just switch loyalties. So I guess we'll just have to wait to see how that's going to all play out, more or less. But I love that ending where the cluster is waking up, and Garnet pretty much says, "No, only you and Peridot are the only things that can stop the cluster right now. The warp was destroyed here. You need to go back right now." And I love that moment where he's fading back out, and the gems have nothing but total confidence. It's not like where they're panicking. Season 1 and early Season 2 Steven universe, they would be panicking over, could Steven do this, let alone with Peridot. And no, they have total faith in him and Peridot to save the world. So that moves us into Gem Drill, which, yes, we finally get to see the cluster, and we get to see what the... what exactly is the cluster, as well as we get a little more backstory on Peridot. And it's kind of tragic. And we get to learn more about what the cluster is, and even more of Steven's powers growing. So, yeah, I love Peridot's train of thought where where Steven asked, "How is everyone supposed to fit in here?" And she just goes, "I don't know. We were supposed to shrink or something. I don't know. I didn't think all I was thinking about was stopping the cluster." We also get more of the gem shards, in that Steven really wants to help them. And that's what I really like, is that Steven doesn't want to, resort to violence first. He always wants to, try to resolve the matter through talking, or, some other form of peace, some other form of peace. But unfortunately, Peridot just says, "No, look, you can't help them. They're mindless. All they can do is try to find themselves." And then when we get to the cluster, that's when we start to learn more, I want to talk about the Peridot moment, because the Peridot moment was just awesome, and it made me go, and this is why you're probably my favorite gem right now. Pearl has been, Peridot, since her whole story arc, Peridot's now my favorite, Pearl's my number 2. I'm sorry. But Peridot has this moment when they're going down, and she finds the same mineral that she's made out of. And through it, she kind of talks about, and Steven asks her, what was it like on Homeworld? And she's like, "I didn't exist, and then I did." And she's really kind of heartbroken because, yeah, that was where she was from. Now she's a traitor to a world she hardly had any memories to. And the one she did, it was just total obedience to Yellow Diamond. And that's really heartbreaking, when all you were built to do was obey. And I love the whole moment where she just has to she breaks down and says, "I'm here with you guys now. I'm here with you. I'm here with the other gems. I'm part of your crew now." And I was like, oh, god damn, the feels. Oh, man. Also, I'm pretty sure this whole episode was nothing but fuel to the fire for the Stevedot ship. You guys got your fuel. I ain't gonna knock your ship, but, you guys got some fuel. You might as well break out the gas cans, because you guys got some fuel for that ship now. I still don't ship it, but I'm not gonna diss ships. Unless it's one that just does not make sense, and this one I can see the levity of it. I can see the logic behind it. Anyway, so throughout we finally get to see the cluster, and it's one giant core. Again, it doesn't really remind me of the closest thing it reminds me of is, again, Unicron from Transformers Prime. It's literally in the core of the planet, and when it wakes up, it's gonna break apart. And it's literally thousands of souls, so it's almost like all of Alucard's familiars from Hellsing, or I guess you could say Dracula from Rosario plus Vampire manga. But in the episode, we see that Steven has a Jean Grey moment and reaches into the psyches of the cluster, and they don't want to blow up the Earth. They don't, but they just want to find their other pieces. It's heartbreaking because they have, there's this moment where Steven wants to help stop this, and Peridot's like, "Look, we can't help it, we have to kill it." And I kind of wish, if the episode was a little longer, I would have liked to see a debate between Steven and Peridot of, what to do here in this moment, where it's actually, I feel like this episode is a better version of the Doctor Who episode, Kill the Moon. This is literally a better written story in just 11 minutes over Kill the Moon. Because I feel like, again, Peridot realizes, this is a living thing. I understand it doesn't want to kill it, but, it doesn't want to kill the world, but there's no stopping it, and it's probably better if we put it out of its misery, because all it's going to feel is pain. And Steven's like, no, I want to help this thing. And yeah, Steven's dream powers, I guess you could say, have now allowed him to speak with the multiple consciousness, shattered consciousness, mind you, of the gems. It's a haunting scene, by the way. It's a very haunting scene where Steven's literally seeing all the, I guess you could say, souls of the shattered gems, and he's just, he's trying to talk to them, trying to convince them, no, this isn't right, I can help you. And eventually, Steven eventually gets them all to bubble. And I'm wondering if we're going to see the cluster again, now that they're all bubbled together and have a conscious thought. Are we going to see, I would like to see, an image of, the multiple psyches again, talking to Steven, saying, hey, thanks, and this is what we're doing now. Or even, maybe when if we get a gem invasion from the diamonds again, maybe, the cluster the cluster shows up again, but in a smaller form. It breaks off a piece of itself and goes whole giant golem thing on the invading gem forces to help Steven. I don't know, now that I think about it, it's a little too fanfiction-y, but at the same time I'm like, I kind of want to see that. I mean, I've caught that line here, people, where it's I would like to see the cluster again, but on the other hand, I don't want to see it because I feel like its story is now officially done. And it was done perfectly because that's what I like about Steven himself, Steven Universe himself as the character, is that he's trying to always find the better solution in the most horrible form. It's very much like Wander, where, not everything needs to be solved with violence, and just as the Doctor said, all people need to do is just sit down and talk. So that's what I like. But he's not a pushover. That's what I also like about Steven, is that he's not a pushover, and he wants to help people. So, all in all, this was a fantastic episode. This was a fantastic two-parter. Kind of sucks that we're going to go back to the one-episode thing next week with all these with Steven Universe. But on the other hand, I'm more than excited that Steven Universe is back. So, yeah, I am just through the roof, totally ecstatic that it's back. But you guys tell me, what did you guys think of this premiere? Do you think we'll see? When do you think we'll see Jasper again? Because I'm pretty sure she ain't dead. Do you want to see the cluster again, or do you think they should leave it alone? And yeah, how powerful do you think Steven's going to get with his, with his dream powers? Do you think it's going to grow further? And what do you think? What do you want to see done with it? There's so many questions here. And also, this season is going to be more about world expanding for Steven Universe, so I'm really excited for that. But anyway, once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.